Dear students, welcome to the third virtual class of Indian Constitution. So yesterday we discussed uh, about the making of the Constitution, and we discussed about many aspects of the framing of the Constitution, and also the contribution of various committees in the formation of the new constitution for independent India. So many people uh, took many responsibilities to help and support the Constituent Assembly in uh, all aspects to frame a good constitution for independent India. And many people also sacrifice their life and worked day and night in the framing of the constitution, especially Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, uh, Rajendra Prasad, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Jawaharlal Nehru, and many others worked hard and framed a beautiful constitution for independent India. So, in this way of framing the constitution, we should also know the things and factors which helped the makers of the Indian constitution to prepare such a beautiful document for India. Such factors are called as the sources of the Indian constitution. The constitution makers also uh, borrowed some important aspects from other constitutions to prepare the constitution for India. So these aspects are called as the sources of the constitution of India. So today let us discuss about such sources of the Indian constitution. The Constitution of India became fully operational on 26th January 1950, and from that golden day to till today it has been evolved through several constitutional amendments, acts of parliament, decisions of the Supreme Court, and several conventions. Its interpretations by constitutional experts have also helped it to grow. All these are then the sources of the Indian Constitution. So, before going to the subject matter, we should know something about 26th January 1950. Why? The new Constitution of India started to operate from 26th January 1950. So, the importance of this 26th January is in 1930, the Indian freedom movement and many leaders took a pledge for complete freedom to India. So on 26th January 1930, took a pledge for complete freedom, which is also called in Hindi uh, Purna Swaraj for India. So, to commemorate that day, the makers of the constitution and the entire council of ministers decided to practice the new constitution from 26th January. Therefore, they decided 26th January. Actually, the Constitution of India was uh, completed on 26th November 1949, but operated from 26th January because of this Purna Swaraj Day. So we can study the sources of the Indian Constitution with the help of the following points. First, values of national movement. The national liberation movement against the British colonial rule was governed by certain ideals and values. Its main aim was freedom, but along with it, several objectives were adopted for guiding the struggle for freedom. So these were listed. The first one, national unity. Second, unity in diversity. Third, democracy. Fourth, secularism. Fifth, liberty. Sixth, equality. Seventh, justice. Eighth, rule of law. And ninth, faith in peaceful and constitutional means. So these are the values of national movement of India. And also the Nehru Report, or Jawaharlal Nehru, the father of Jawaharlal Nehru, Motilal Nehru, had suggested a framework for the constitution which the people of India wanted. It had also suggested the following features: federalism, number one; number two, strong center; number three, joint electorate; number four, secularism; number five, political and social equality; number six, fundamental rights; number seven, protection for minorities; number eight, universal adult franchise; and independent and impartial judiciary. So this report served as the blueprint for the making of the Indian Constitution. So these are the features included in Nehru report. So this is also one of the sources of the Constitution of India, Nehru report. Then third is foreign constitutions. So many foreign constitutions also helped the makers of the constitution to collect some important aspects, and they also borrowed many things from such foreign constitutions in the preparation of Indian Constitution. The framers of Indian Constitution were greatly influenced by several constitutions which were work at other democratic states of the world. They tried to incorporate the best features of such constitutions in the Indian Constitution. They were not selected blindly the features of the constitutions. They selected only uh, which features suitable for the Indian condition. So selected and incorporated in the Indian Constitution. However, they did not borrow the features blindly. They used these only when they found suitable for Indian conditions. Mr. B.N. Rao, the constitutional advisor, visited several countries to review the working of various institutions. On the basis of his advice, the constitution makers incorporated several salient features in the Constitution of India. The British Constitution influenced the makers of the Indian Constitution to adopt the parliamentary democracy and bicameralism. So, what parliamentary system we are practicing today is borrowed from the Constitution of Great Britain and also bicameral system. So, we have two chambers in our Indian uh, parliament. Then the American Constitution uh, influenced them to adopt fundamental rights, independence of judiciary, and judicial review. Fundamental rights is one of the features of our constitution, and also the judicial independence, judicial review. So these are the important aspects of American Constitution, so which are incorporated in our Constitution. Presently, we can see these three features in our Constitution. Then, from the Irish Constitution, the makers of our Constitution borrowed the directive principles of state policy. So, which are the economic wants, economic opportunities provided for the people, borrowed from Irish Constitution. Then a division of powers between the Union and the states, borrowed from the Constitution of Canada and Australia. Emergency provisions were borrowed from the Constitution of Germany. As such, some foreign constitutions also served as a source of Indian Constitution. So these factors we can see in our Constitution. Then another important uh, feature which influenced the makers of the Constitution, but the act was passed during the British rule in India, but it is the main inspiration for the makers of the Constitution. When the Constituent Assembly began its work, Government of India was operating under the provisions of the Act of 1935. Naturally, this act influenced the constitution makers both positively and negatively. Negatively, they decided to eliminate the half hearted democratic system They also decided to abolish the communal electorate in favor of a joint electorate. Positively, they were influenced by this act in laying down the division of powers between the Union and the states, in the inclusion of subjects in the three lists and in keeping the center strong. The decision to introduce bicameralism in bigger provinces and unicameralism in small provinces, as well as the provisions for dealing with the constitutional emergency in states, was made under the influence of the Government of India Act 1935. So this act, also called as the blueprint for the Constitution of India. So let us know something about the two aspects, bicameralism and unicameralism. Bicameralism means the system of the legislature which is having two chambers or two houses. Example, the Indian legislature consists of two houses, Rajya Sabha, upper house, Lok Sabha, lower house. So where these two chambers are there in the legislature, that is bicameral system. Where there is only one house in the legislature, it is known as unicameralism. So in our country, we have both the systems in India. In big states, there is bicameral system of legislature, and in small states, the small states means in territory, in population, having only unicameral system of legislature. Then another source of the Constitution of India is the Constituent Assembly and its records. The Constitution of India is the child of the Constituent Assembly. The perceptions and ideological orientation of the constitution makers, the reports of the committees and of the debates held in the Constituent Assembly provide the basic threads for its formation. Perceptions and ideological orientations. The perceptions and ideological orientations of the members of the Constituent Assembly provided the basis for laying down the philosophy and basic structure of the Constitution. The adoption of democratic secularism, provisions for centralized planning, the directive principles of state policy, secularism, Unitarian federalism, welfare state, etc. All bear the imprint of the values and ideas cherished by the framers of the Constitution. Reports of the constitutional committees. The Constituent Assembly appointed a number of committees which prepared reports on the matters allocated to them. Their reports formed the basis of debates held in Constituent Assembly. Advisory Committee on Minorities and Fundamental Rights, Committee on Financial Relations between Union and States are some examples. The reports of these committees constituted rich source of the Constitution. Then debates of the Constituent Assembly. Before incorporating the provisions in the Constitution, the Constituent Assembly debated on all its aspects. Every member freely expressed his opinion in these debates. The Constituent Assembly held 11 plenary sessions and debates for 114 days. As many as 7,635 amendments were moved by the members, out of which 2,473 were actually discussed and debated upon. The Constituent Assembly took 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days to accomplish the task of making the Constitution. And amount spent in preparing the Constitution of India, rupees 6 crores 39 lakhs 6,273. So this is the amount spent to prepare the Constitution for India. Then another source for the Constitution of India was the draft Constitution. The drafting committee, under the chairmanship of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, did a commendable job in preparing the draft Constitution. On 21st February 1948, the Constituent Assembly began a debate over the first draft prepared by the drafting committee. On 4th November 1948, the final draft was submitted to the Constituent Assembly. After long discussions and debates, the Constituent Assembly finally enacted and adopted the Constitution on 26th November 1949. So this date is mentioned in the preamble of the Constitution. The draft Constitution as such constitutes a source of the Constitution of India. So this is the picture where the leaders, including Sardar Patel and others, signing the Constitution of India in 1949. Another source of the Constitution is constitutional amendments. The Constitution is a living and developing system of constitutional law of the land. It has to develop and change in accordance with the changes in the society. That is why a constitution always contains provisions regarding the procedure of amendment. The Indian Constitution under Article 368 lays down the power and the procedure of amendment. During its operation from 26th January 1950, the Constitution of India has undergone more than 103 amendments out of 124 Constitution Amendment bills to till 1st June 2019. All these changes have helped the Constitution to adjust and develop and serve the needs of the changing environment. The latest amendment 103rd has done on 12th January 2019. So this amendment is related to reservation of jobs in central government as well as government educational institutions. So it also applicable on admissions to private higher educational institutions. It applicable to the citizens belonging to the economically weaker sections from the upper castes. So another important source of the Constitution of India is Parliamentary Statutes. From time to time, Union Parliament has passed several acts on various subjects. Since 1950, it has exercised its law-making powers to provide for desired changes in respect of rules regarding citizenship, number of judges of the Supreme Court, reorganization of states, People's Representation Act, etc. Then judicial deficiency is also another important aspect in the making of the Constitution. The Supreme Court of India has the power to interpret the Constitution. It is also the court of final appeals and a court of records. It has jurisdiction over constitutional cases. So these are the important sources of the Constitution of India. So I will conclude my presentation today. So let us discuss the another important topic of first unit in the next class. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.